So now that we have set up and installed Unity Hub, we've installed our version of Unity that we're going to use. Currently, we installed version 2022.3.4 F1, and we also installed Microsoft Visual Studios 2022. And now we're ready to go and get ourselves set up to create our projects inside of Unity. Now, this shortcut, this is to the actual application or the editor itself. You're not going to want to click on this. You're always going to want to go to the Unity Hub, open up the Unity Hub, and create your projects from the Unity Hub itself. But before we do that, whenever you create your projects, you want to have a place to save them. You can save them here on the desktop. You can save them in a flash drive, maybe in a different location, but wherever you save them, have a consistent spot you can go to for all your projects. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Window, and I'm going to go to the File Explorer. I have it also here on my taskbar, and I'm going to create a Unity folder inside of my documents. Now, this is going to live here on the computer itself. Later on, we'll look at version control and keeping a copy of our projects outside of the local computer. In case for some reason the computer doesn't start or has any issues, you still have access to your code. And we'll look at that on a different video. But in this case, I'm going to put my local files here in my documents. Currently, I have a folder from Visual Studios 2022 that was created when I installed that application. So I'm going to create another new folder here as well. Now, I'm on Windows 11, so the environment and what this pop-up window looks like to you, if you're on an older version, Windows 10, Windows 8, it may look differently. And depending on if you can do this, normally you can right-click on your mouse and you can create a new folder, or somewhere in this upper left-hand corner is a button for creating new. In this case, we have a new with a little drop-down arrow, and I can create different new folders or applications right away here. Now, the very top one is a folder. I'm gonna make a folder for Unity so that I have a place to contain all of my projects in this Unity folder, because once we open up the Unity Hub, it's going to ask us, where do you want to put your project? And this is the folder that I want to put all my projects in. And I created it now. You can also create it while you're creating your projects, and that's a different step involved in that. But I went ahead and created these now, so we have that folder ready to go. I'm going to close this window out. I'm going to double click and open up the Unity Hub. Now, what you see here is once you've signed in, you may see a different Unity Hub on the very first install. I've installed this hub several times, so I don't actually have the splash screen at the very beginning here. Normally there's a sign in button when this thing pops up. It's asking you to sign into your account, your Unity account. Now, Unity has a policy set up for those that are 16 and older to create a Unity ID account, because they track information and collect data. If you're under 16 and this is a personal computer, ask for your parents' permission and get yourself set up with a Unity ID. Or if you're at a school setting, this may already be installed for you and set up with a administrative account. But if you do see that where it says sign in, that's going to ask you to sign in with your Unity ID if you need to create that account. But once you're in here, I am on consider it the home page of Unity Hub. Up in that left-hand corner, it's going to ask me to sign in, also create, but manage the license. This is where if you're a single user, you'd maybe have a personal license, a free personal license. If you're in a school environment lab, there may be an educational license attached to this that gives you certain privileges as a student. But recommend that you do sign into your account to keep track of all your projects as well. You can create a new project with the new project button. You can also open up existing projects, and I can show you that once we've created a few projects, we can come back and look at that on a different video. But in this case, we can look at different installs that we have available to us. You have different learning modules that may pop up for you to reference on your own, as well as the community links to different things that Unity has to offer. But in our case is just getting that very first project set up. So I'm going to go ahead and go to new project. If mine is selected all templates, maybe yours is somewhere else, but you can always go to core. They have different sample games to try out, different learning setup, but we're going to go right to all templates, and you've got your 2D and your 3D core. All the other ones, the universal render pipeline and your 3D and 2D mobile and so forth, these are for extended and bigger projects. But for our case, we're going to be in the 2D and 3D core templates. And I'm going to go ahead and select the 3D template. And on that right-hand side, it's going to ask me, well, what's this project name and what's this location? This is important so you can reference and find this project if you need to. For this, for instance, this is just going to be, I'm going to go ahead and just call this my test 3D game. And it's going to ask for a location. It's already referencing my Unity folder because I had already created this originally, but it may say something different for you here. So if I click on the folder, it's going to pop up a file explorer, and I can go back to my quick access, go back to documents, go back to Unity, and this is the folder that I want to create all my projects and keep them stored in here if I'm keeping a local copy. Later on, when we do version control, we're going to create a secondary location for all of our version control versions of our game that we're going to work on. So I'm going to select this folder, and then I'm going to let this run. Usually for the first time when Unity builds the actual game itself from the template, it could take 5, maybe even I've seen 10 minutes sometimes to allow the application to be created. It has to download a lot of assets and libraries, so it could take some time. So when I press create project, I'm going to let this run, and once this is done running, I'll come back and check on you in a moment. So now that the project has successfully opened up, we have our first instance of what Unity, the actual editor, is going to look like. And the next video, we're going to cover what this editor entails, what are all these panels for, and setting up our project for the future. Thanks for watching.